Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemeyer Games, and I am here today to play Rolling Realms Round 2 of Game 84. Today we're using Charterstone, one of the very original realms, and then two promo realms, Architects of the West Kingdom and Boonlake. Each of these realms are very different. There's a kind of a left to right thing, left to right thing going on with Architects. Charterstone, you're trying to hit the sweet spot for the die that you are not using in the realm. And then Boonlake, you're deciding a timing puzzle of when to use the resources that you've earned in this realm. Let's jump in and I'll talk about these as I go. Hey, Mark. Hey, Chad. Thanks for joining me for today's live play. We start out with a 6 and a 4. 6 and a 4. We had a fun game night last night learning and playing Luthier, a new Kickstarter delivery for my friend Miles. And it was I slept really well afterward because my brain was really, really tired after playing this very heavy game. Hey, Carell, thanks for joining today. Carell, I think you designed Boonlake, didn't you? This is a really great realm. 6 and a 4. Ooh, not great numbers for Charterstone, but an early coin is quite nice. So why don't we do that? So the number I don't use, 4, will go here. I'll use the 6 to gain a coin. And then the 4. Where do I want to use the 4? 4 isn't great for Architects unless I want to use it here. For Architects, we're trying. I guess I could go. Let's see, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get a heart there. I could also use a 4 to highlight one of these. Actually, this is a good one to get early because it doesn't cost anything, which is really nice. So I'm inclined to go for that. Why don't we put the 4 right there? So we're highlighting this, and then later on at any time when I'm ready to use it, I can fill in this little lever and cross off that benefit, and I'm gaining either 2 coins or a star. So 2 coins early in the round, pretty good. But for now, I'm going to use the 1 here for the ascending sequence and get a pumpkin. If you have any questions, let me know, whether you're watching this live. I think those who are watching it live probably know it pretty well, or later on in the future in the comments. Carell confirms that they did indeed design Boonlake. We have a 3 and a 5 here. 3 and a 5. And Carell says, I hadn't played the game at the time. I designed the realm from studying the rulebook. That was brain heavy. That's quite impressive, Carell. And I would say somewhat rare to design a promo or an expansion for a game without even having played the game. Quite impressive. I didn't know that. 3 and a 5. Not ideal for Charterstone. Ideally, we're going to get all the same number in Charterstone down there. We might have to try to get 2 numbers, but we don't really know what we're going to roll. So don't really know. But another early 5 could be good. Get another early coin. We do have these 2 coins to use at any time. And I could put maybe the 3 in Architects. Why don't we use the 5 here? Put a 3 right there and get a coin, another coin. The 3 I would say is better here than elsewhere. Well, that's a big sacrifice to use 2 coins early, and I don't even have those 2 coins. But I think I should use the 3 right here. Unless I want, I use the 5 there. So I'll use the 3 right there and get a star. So the question is, do I use a 1 and those 2 coins to gain this lever? I think the answer is yes. Oftentimes what I end up doing in Boonlake is just jumping from resource to resource, which probably isn't the best way to go. It's a very generous realm, but just not exactly generous in getting the stars. But I will use a coin as a 1, and I will crack this one open for 2 coins. And I will use those 2 coins right away. So I'm doing this for the 1. I need the 2 coins. And then I have, whenever I'm ready, I can have 1 of each resource or a star. Carell says, opinion on Flashpoint, and have you looked at the new Legacy version? I'll roll real quick while I'm thinking about this, Tom. It's been a long time since I played Flashpoint. I think I've only played it 1 time. I played it with my nephew, my little nephew, who really loved the game. I have heard the Legacy version. Actually, I don't want to spread rumor. The review from a trusted cooperative reviewer that I listened to, they very much did not like the Legacy version of Flashpoint. So, in fact, I listened to 2 reviewers talk about it. So I wonder if I wonder if something just happened with that legacy version. But the core game, I think, is pretty solid. But from what I've heard from reviewers I trust, I did not hear good things about that legacy version of Flashpoint. 2 and a 6. Again, not a number matching down here. I could use the 2 and put a 6 over here, but then I have 3 numbers down there at the bottom. That's really the max I can have to even have a chance at getting all the stars from Charterstone. What else can I do with a 2 and a 6? A 6 is actually great in Architects right here. That could be a good option. Why don't we do that? 6, get a heart, and then a 2 and a 6. No, that's a 6. So I can use the 2 over here, or I could use the 2 over here. I don't have those resources, though. I guess I could crack this one open and get those resources. That would be the last one that I could use without getting a star to have a chance of getting all 6 stars. Should I do that? Do I dare? This is the only way that I can actually use all 3 realms this turn, so I will do it. I will crack this one open and gain 1 of each resource. I've used the 6. I will use the... It doesn't really matter. It could be a 1 or a 2. I might as well use the 2 over here and then create a 1 for over here. So I use the 2 here, put a 6 right there, get a pumpkin. And then since I have 3 pumpkins, why don't I use this coin as a 1 for this, and I'll spend those 2 pumpkins. So now again, I can get 1 of each resource if I want or not. We'll find out. Hey, Scott, I see Marcelo as well. Marcelo says, let me roll real quick. Here's another 5 and a 3. That could be decent for Charterstone. Actually, no, it's really bad for Charterstone. Not great. Marcelo says, it doesn't matter what I do, I will buy. Well, I appreciate that, Marcelo. I would say it should matter what I do, what we make. I want you to I want you to hold us accountable for good games and to be good people at Stonemaier Games. But I think the sentiment of what you're saying is that you support what we do, and I appreciate that. So thanks for saying that. Mark says, so excited to make Stonemaier titles on the Game Makers, hoping to draw them on the Board Game Arena Alpha. That's cool, Mark. Yeah, I don't know much about how the game works, but I trust that company and the designers to use the little hints of our games in that game for good use. 5 and a 3. Okay, the reason this is bad in Charterstone is because I've already used the 5. So I could... Actually, what I might try to do is use a 1 and put a 3 down here. So if I can get a coin, that would be great. The 5 is actually great in Architects right here. So I'm inclined to do that. If I put the 5 right there, 5, that's a star. The 3... I want to use in Boonlake in either of these places. And I need to make sure I will probably end up using this for the coins. Where can I use it in Boonlake? I could use 2 hearts. Yeah, I think that's probably the option. So 2 hearts for this 3. And now I need to use 1 of these to get the coin to use in Charterstone. Doesn't really matter which one. I'll use this one to get 1, 2, 3, and I'll use that coin as a 1 in Charterstone to get a pumpkin and write down a 3. These realms are a little tighter than I thought. This is going to be tough. Turn 5. That was barely a roll, but I'll count it. Here's a 4 and a 6. 4 and a 6. Chad says, a buddy of mine just told me that he thinks Vantage after 1 play is now one of his top 3 games. That's high praise. That is high praise, Chad. And yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad your friend is enjoying it. I'm going to teach it tomorrow to some friends, and I made some pet cards for them to use. Garrett says, we need to petition BGG to allow 6 micro badges now that someone has posted all 6 runes as micro badges. And Carell says, yes, it's essential. Yeah, that would be neat. Yes, you could choose your rune or have all 6 runes as your badges on Board Game Geek. 4 and a 6. what to do with a 4 and a 6. A 4 could go in either direction here. It could keep going down or could keep going up here in Architects. 4 is also great in Charterstone. Ooh, that's tricky. I wonder if I should get a 4 and then copy it for Charterstone. That could be a good use of it. I don't know if I'm getting the numbers I need for Boonlake, but maybe that's okay. I could, yeah, actually, this could work out. This might work out. Let's put the 4. I'll put the 4 right there in Architects. That gives me 2 hearts. I will now spend 3 hearts to copy that 4 and put it right here and put a 6 down there, gain another heart. And now I haven't used the 6 yet, so I can use the 6 over in Boonlake for either a single heart or a single pumpkin. I have more pumpkins right now, so let's use 1 pumpkin to outline this one. So currently I have 2 unused. Let me fill these in a little bit more so it's more obvious. I have 2 of these unused that I could use for resources or could try to hold on to for stars, which I'd like to do at this point if at all possible. Let's move on to turn 6. A 2 and a 4. 2 and a 4. So this is the point in Charterstone where I don't have a 3, but that might be okay because I could use a 4 to at least get 1 star. It's not really ideal, but it is possible to do that. Architects, I could use the 2 to keep going downhill. I could use the 4 to keep going uphill. So I'm flexible there. And I have no coins right now. So it's tough to use all 3 realms. And I can't really get coins from, well, I guess I can get a coin from down here using a 4 right there and a heart, which I do have. Maybe we should do that. Although a coin doesn't really help me here. Tempted to do this. This seems pretty good. Why don't I do that? I'll use the 4 and a heart to gain 2 coins. It's the best remaining way for me to get coins. We'll see. That might bite me. We'll see. Garrett's headed out. Garrett, good to see you. That was the 4. The 2. Yeah, that's definitely gonna mess me up, but that's okay. Actually, I could use the 2 pumpkins and the 2 over here. That could be good. Why don't we do that? 2 pumpkins turns the 2 into a 3, and that way I can write the 4 down here. I get a heart out of it. And now I have 2 coins left. I can't really do much with 2 coins in Boonlake, though, unless I want to crack another one of these open and make a big number. I don't think that's the way to go. So I will not do anything with Boonlake this turn. Down to the final 3 turns. Marcelo says 1 and a 6 for the roll for turn 7. Marcelo says it is usually the country's distributor that contacts you to launch the game. I'm asking this because I wanted to know what the relationship with Galapagos is like to launch Vantage in Brazil. So a distributor, it's a slightly different term. A distributor is a company to whom we sell games that we've already made, and then they sell those games to retailers. What we call a localization partner, which is essentially another publisher. That is, we have partners around the world, and when we have a new game, we reach out to them and we say, hey, we have this new game. Would you like to make it in your language? And that's when they can say yes. Early on in the Stonemaier games creation, publishers would contact us, and they still do sometimes, but we have so many, at this point, we have so many relationships with publishers around the world that we contact them and we say we're interested. What you can do, Marcelo, is if you want your favorite local publisher, especially one that we already work with, to publish a game that is not already available in your language, then just contact them and say, hey, I will gladly buy this game from you in the future if you end up making it. But I would ask you to ask that kindly, and to respect the idea that they may already be working on it. They may just not be ready to announce it yet. That is certainly possible. Mark, I see your comment. Let me get to your comment in 1 second. I have a 1 and a 6 here. 6 is good in Charterstone. 1 isn't. I think I need to use that here. Let's use the 6 to cross off these 2 and get 2 stars. I now have a 1. I also have 2 coins. The 1 works in Architects pretty well. Again, I'm short on Boonlake, but I think that's just what has to happen. So here's a 1 for Architects. And I can't really do anything in Boonlake. So let me roll, and then Mark, I'll get to your question. I see Reggie just joined us as well. Awesome. Thanks for popping in, Reggie. Another 3 and a 5. A lot of repeat rolls today. So Mark says maybe the Game Makers and Rolling Realms can have a collaboration together. Both are celebrations of the hobby. I think they are. I think they're kind of similar in that way. That Rolling Realms celebrates other publishers. I would say one key thing that's important to me for Rolling Realms is I never have any expectation. I don't even ask for other publishers to promote that their games are in. To promote that their games are in Rolling Realms. Sorry, I hit the desk there. That was, I'm sure, a sound. So that is very important to me that they don't feel that at all. We paid every other publisher who accepted our offer to put their game in Rolling Realms. We paid them. I told them they didn't have to do anything, and that was it. So that's really important to me. Game Makers has taken a slightly different approach to that, which I respect. I am fine to be involved with it, but I would say they're separate games. They're gonna do separate things. Reggie says just got his Rolling Realms Redux in the mail this week. That's awesome, Reggie. Hopefully you enjoy the 12 new realms added by Redux. 3 and 5. I can put the 5 right here. 5 is also necessary down here in Architects. The 3 I can finally use over here in Boonlake. Actually, the 3 is also good in Charterstone. What can I do here? Lots of things to do. I think the 3, I'm going to stick with Charterstone. Charterstone is so hard to complete, and I have a shot at it that I'm going to go for it. Just have the 4s left. So the 5, I can use in Architects in 2 different ways. One to get a star, one to lead towards a star. And in Boonlake, I could use a 5 to also get a star. Yeah. I really wish I had multiple numbers here to use. Well, either way, it's a star. So why don't I use the more... Boonlake is more flexible. I'm going to use it in Architects right here. Oh, no, I don't have a pumpkin to spend. I can't do that. I cannot do that. So I will go with the guaranteed offer of using it over here with a heart right there. All right, final roll. Let's see how we do. Reggie said he's only played it once, and he already wants to design the realms. A pair of 1s to end the round. That is an odd ending and an unfortunate one for Architects. Reggie, yeah, design a fan realm. I'd love to pick a game that you love, and maybe we could feature it on one of the 10s that, like, every 10 games you typically play some fan designed realms. A pair of 1s here is really bad. I will say this is a really bad final roll because it can't do anything in Boonlake. In Architects, we're ascending here. It doesn't work here. It doesn't work for either of these numbers. And Charterstone is so far away from 4s that it's rough. That is a tough roll. I don't even know. I can't use it here. I can't use it in Architects, and I can't use it in Boonlake. So actually, these are going to be free resources for us to use as we want. They're going to turn into resources. So that's really unfortunate. That's a terrible, terrible final roll here. I think the best I can do is turn them into coins, and I think I can get 2 stars out of them for Charterstone. So if I turn this all the way into a 4, at least then I can complete Charterstone. So there's 2 more stars. From Boonlake, I didn't end up using 3 of these, so I can use them for 3 stars. 3 stars in Architects. So that is a total of no leftover resources at all. That is a score of 12. Exactly 12. Hopefully, my snake eye roll didn't hurt anyone else too much. Chad says, have you had a chance to play that prototype? Again, I'm always excited for designers to get their games in front of you. Thanks, Chad. Yeah, I mentioned on yesterday's live stream that I'd gotten a game to the table a few times. I actually have it right here on the table, just out of view. You can't quite see it. If you can see a box, that is not actually the game box. That is just a placeholder. But yeah, I'm going to get it to the table again soon. It works. It is, I won't say much about it, but I do want to play it again. The designer has been very receptive to revising the game. Mark got 10.6. Sorry, Mark. I'm sorry the snake eyes got you too. Let me know if you are playing along live or in the future what you scored compared to my 12. Reggie, have fun with Rolling Realms Redux. Chad, Mark, Marcelo, thanks for joining in. Scott, if you're still here, thanks for playing along. And Carell, thanks for popping in. Amazing. Carell helps out in so many ways at Stonemaier Games. All right, have a good day. I will see you all tomorrow at 3 o'clock St. Louis time. Take care.